In New Orleans, Louisiana, there is an amazing World War II museum that takes you back to the time of the deadliest conflict in human history, marked by 50 to 85 million fatalities. But to learn about World War II, you don't have to go to a far-off museum. There are many survivors of the war right here in Stanislaus County with stories to tell. The Veterans Foundation of Stanislaus County presents a tribute to local World War II veterans.
Well, I was born 4/29/1920, which in 3 days I'll be 101 years old. Born on a farm over 100 years ago, and had no tractors, nothing like that, just all horses and cows. And I hated farming. The happiest day of my life was when I got drafted into the Army. You see something besides the back 40. I was in the 45th Infantry Division when the first mortar shell came in. Landed from here to you, 8 feet away. I had powder burns all over my face, and the main damage was done to my legs, which I didn't feel at that time, see. I looked at the kid next to me. He was standing there with his hands underneath his stomach, he was holding up his guts. His whole belly was shot open. How he survived, I don't know. But I got to the hospital that afternoon, and they gave me morphine shots and put me to sleep. Till the next morning when I woke up, I couldn't move my legs. What's wrong here? They were both in casts. I didn't know that I had broken bones in my left foot, and I had a shrapnel wound in my right. So I was in the hospital there for over 2 months. And when I got out, a sergeant came up one day and he says, "Private Dille?" "Yes." "I got good news for you and I got bad news for you." "What's the good news?" "You've been discharged today from the hospital." "Oh," I said, that is good news. "What's the bad news?" "You're slated in 10 days. You've been shipped to Japan for the invasion of Japan. 100,000 troops that they expected to get killed in that invasion in Japan." Well, that's bad news. And then someone said, "Oh, this is good news. Japan just signed the papers. The war is over."
Out of the 38 airplane commanders, only 5 of us came home. As we passed that border, the whole sky turned black, all over the place. Then we had 4 bursts of red flak. Boom, the fighters hit us. And I was a wingman, and took the guy in front of me. We rolled over, headed for the ground, in flames. That scared the hell out of me. I said, "What the hell did I get into?" I said, "Listen to my father, he told me don't fly."
I was born in December the 7th, 1925. So when they bombed Pearl Harbor, that was my birthday. I was 16 years old. I was a junior at Modesto High School. I went into the service in March of 1944. And so then I went to the Philippines in January of 1945. And I made a couple little small invasions, and then I made the invasion of Cebu back on March the 26th, 1945. The battle had 41,000 Japanese on the island, and by April the 8th, they were gone.
I was a tech sergeant, and my position on the airplane was the ball turret underneath. You're in there like this with a 50 caliber machine gun on, one on either side of you. It's a little bit noisy when you shoot it. When my airplane was shot down, I had to parachute out. They captured me, put me in a jail in Budapest, Hungary, and I stayed there till they got enough prisoners to put in a boxcar, and then they shipped us up to northeastern Germany to a bigger prison camp.
Well, war is hell. Army and Air Force in Patton's Army. A long time ago, he was not very easy to get to talk to. Once he got to know you, you were it. And he kept you going.
I got into this program, and I was only 17 years old. After that tour, I had, as I said, we were chasing Russian submarines. And that's what my job was. I talked my way into getting checked out in jets, because they were just brand new. And I was stationed in a squadron with Wale Schirra. Wale Schirra was a graduate of the Naval Academy. He left the squadron, and he was one of the first 7 astronauts. I flew with him.
I was up in this hill, 3 of us, 4 hill, yeah. And we were standing there, and this Japanese was in this bush over there someplace, and he kept popping away, and he hit one of our guys right away, a guy by the name of Duncan, and they got him in the butt. I remember him running by and saying, "Hit me in the ass." I seen a movement down below me, and I looked again, and here were these Japanese coming up the hill. And if I didn't look down, and they could have got us as sure as I'm sitting here. So the first reaction I got, I wasn't a brave man, but it just seemed like I wasn't scared. All of a sudden I had my M1 rifle, and I grabbed it off my lap like that, and I turned around and I let go. And I caught the first guy, the Jap, I banged him ass off, he got it right away. And the other guys, they scattered, I fired, but I did too. I went back up to where I was supposed to be. But I got the first one. That was the first Jap I killed that I know of face to face. That I remember distinctly. I can still see him coming up that hill.
We got hit once by a kamikaze. When they hit the ship, I mean, there was nothing left of them. And, he kept running and he didn't have a leg. The shrapnel cut his leg off and he kept running. He didn't even feel it, I guess. He was so scared. But I could see that guy running. That was something, you just don't forget stuff like that. If you ever get seasick, the one thing that cures you is a Japanese shooting at you.
After we went to New Orleans in the Armed Guard, we shipped out of there, and about the first ship I was on got torpedoed out in the Gulf of Mexico. I think we got torpedoed about 9:30 at night, and the torpedo hit the ship and started fire right away. And we lost, I don't know how many merchant marines was lost, but I think the gun crew that I was with, I think we lost 3, because it started fire right away. And we made it to I guess just about everybody made it to lifeboats and life rafts, and spent in the water in lifeboats overnight, and was picked up the next day. was picked up by the USS Gulf, a destroyer, 247. So, and then from there we went to Cuba, catch a ship back to the United States and be re-signed.
You have witnessed only a sampling of the experiences of these brave survivors of World War II. And there are many other men and women whose stories we haven't heard. To all those who served and survived, we thank you. To those who paid the ultimate sacrifice, we remember and honor you.